Welcome back to One Comic Book a Day, where I have a story for you after yesterday's pretty enjoyable story involving giant balls. Today, we are covering Superman 76 and the first story, a very important story, The Mightiest Heroes in the World, and it is the original first canonical meeting of Batman and Superman. And is it worth all the hype to put these two characters together? Not really. It mainly coasts by on the fact that it's Batman and Superman meeting. But hey, that's all right. Once again, disposable. They're not going to put that much work into these. First off, because I don't give enough spotlight to the writers and artists of the comic, I thought it would be nice for this big issue to bring up that it was written by Edmund Hamilton. Edmund Hamilton's been with Superman since nearly the beginning, especially when other writers were coming in. He was a fairly well-known, well-regarded pulp sci-fi writer, writing a lot of those sci-fi stories on different planets that really inspired Star Wars. Keep that in mind. A lot of the writers of those went over to write for these comics. And he was also married to Leah Brackett, who, if you haven't heard of, was a pretty prolific writer herself, including working on the scripts to The Big Sleep, Rio Bravo, and wrote the first draft of Empire Strikes Back. She sadly passed away only a few months afterwards. She was dying of cancer at the time. But yeah, what an interesting couple. The art has been done by Kurt Swan, who is maybe the most famous Superman artist of all time. He's maybe the most prolific and everyone's usual favorite, and probably the epitome of how people think Superman looks. Okay, so we've gone through that. What about the actual plot and why it's not, the best plot? The real fun of this comic is maybe the first third of it. You see, Bruce and Clark are both on the same cruise ship. They have to share a room, but Bruce is a millionaire. How can he just pay away getting his own room? They have to share a room, so they're really worried about the other person finding out who they really are. Lois is there too after a fire breaks out in front of the ship before it goes out. This is a massive jewelry robbery. This jeweler is an arsonist. So that's what they chose to have Batman and Superman work together to fight. A jewelry thief who's also an arsonist. I would have gone a bit bigger, but hey, maybe he can do something here. He's not going to. Both Clark and Bruce run to the room to change into their superhero outfits. This is the high point of the comic. So they both just pretend they're very sleepy and have to turn out the lights as there's a raging fire happening on the docks. They're both changing clothes in the dark when a light comes through the porthole of their room, the porthole window of the room, illuminating everything, and they see each other changing. Yeah, that's how Batman and Superman found out who they were. And they just get to it after oh, you're Batman. Oh, you're Superman. They get to it and stop the fire, but both of them have to now stay on the ship and find out who the jewelry thief is. This is not a very strong story. It's not a very interesting investigation. Mostly it's them just kind of running around for a bit. There is a good explanation of why Superman can't just find the jewelry right away. It turns out they're being hidden into lead bullets. That's actually a really interesting concept. But the thief tries to get away, but Batman's already on it, and, well, with him and Superman and a villain who's getting away on a helicopter, they stop him. Also, it turned out that this arsonist was wearing an asbestos suit, so I think things would have solved themselves out pretty soon. Depending on how often he wore that asbestos fireproof suit. My God, that poor man. There was also a part of the story where Lois overhears a conversation and now thinks Bruce Wayne is Batman, which he's entirely correct for. But Batman and Superman decide to teach her a lesson for some reason. I don't know why they had to define this as a lesson, because sexism. So Superman flies Batman off the ship so he can be seen stopping crime in Gotham, so Lois can no longer think Bruce Wayne is Batman, unless, he knew somebody who could fly him back to the coast. I wonder if Superman's been around. Come on, Lois. Don't let the writers do this to you. You're smarter than this. But joke's on them. As they get off the boat, she is taken arm in arm away by Robin off to a date, which they're both jealous of. Even though Batman at this time... Oh, actually, I don't know, because I'm behind on Batman. But Batman has had a series of girlfriends. He should be dating... He's dating Linda Page, where we're currently on in Bat Fridays. But yeah, that's basically it for the story. You notice how I just kind of skimmed through the rest of it, because the high point was them meeting, And then there wasn't really much for them to do. There isn't even that much of like an interaction or combining of talents. It's just like, okay, this one's going to do this and this one's going to do that until we deal with the problem. I mean, there's some fun stuff, but once again, they chose to have a jewelry thief arsonist be the threat and not say like the Joker meeting up with Lex Luthor or something, which is definitely where you would go with that now. Or I guess the new 52 version was Darkseid showing up, and that's how everybody met up. And Mark Waid's current comic had an interesting threat for them to originally unite with anyways. Though the story is back in canon, because if you didn't read Death Metal, everything in the DC universe that was ever canon is back to being canon. Oh man, that's still a wonderful thing to think about. Okay, that is it from Superman 76, the mightiest team in the world. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. Hit the bell icon to get notifications when a new video is up. I do this Monday through Friday, but Fridays is Bat Friday, where I cover a Batman story on the Detective Comics or Batman. And until next time, let's ponder the question, whatever did happen to the Man of Tomorrow? And seriously, did this arsonist die of cancer? I need to know. Okay, have a great day.